Eli sat quietly in the stark, metallic interrogation room aboard the Starborn Herald, his small frame almost swallowed by the oversized chair. Commander Trelv, his scales a gleaming blue in the ship's harsh light, loomed over him, his voice a mix of curiosity and caution. "Tell us again, Eli, how you ended up alone on the surface of Janton without any family?" Trelv asked. Eli shrugged, his gaze drifting towards the shimmering wall, where lights flickered intermittently, as if reacting to his mood. "I was exploring the ruins. I like the sounds they make. It's like they're talking." Dr. Mina Yael, observing through the two-way mirror, noted this interaction with keen interest. Her voice was soft, ethereal almost, as she spoke into her communicator. "He's not aware of his influence yet. There's a profound connection between him and the ancient tech. We need to understand it, not fear it." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Cora Vex watched from the shadows, her report to the silencers already forming in her mind. Subject exhibits uncontrolled influence over tech, potential threat level, high. Recommendation, initiate dissonance protocol. Back in the room, Trelv pressed a button, and the wall shimmered, transforming into a transparent view of space, the planet Janton looming large beneath them. "Eli, when you touch the artifacts, what do you feel?" "It feels warm, like it knows I'm there." "It listens to me," Eli responded, his voice a whisper, his attention now completely captured by the planet below. Trelv exchanged a look with an officer outside the room, his concern growing. As they spoke, the lights in the room flickered more aggressively. Outside in the corridor, the ship's AI suddenly voiced an alert, anomalous energy fluctuations detected. Source, interrogation room. Dr. Yael entered the room, her presence a calming wave. "Eli, would you show me what you did with the artifacts? Maybe then we can help them understand." Eli nodded, and as he gestured, the lights steadied, then pulsed rhythmically, a pattern that mirrored the ancient signals found in Janton's ruins. Dr. Yael's eyes widened in realization. It's not just interaction, it's communication. Trelv, observing the change, felt a mixture of awe and fear. This child controls what we do not understand. What if he can control the ship? Cora Vex's report was urgent now, immediate action required. Risk of containment breach and potential takeover of ship systems by an unknown alien technology. As the council convened in an emergency session, Eli, left alone with Dr. Yael, looked up at her with innocent, questioning eyes. "Why are they scared of me?" "Because people fear what they don't understand," she replied gently. "But I believe you're here to teach us, not to harm." In the council chamber, the debate was heated. "We must remove the boy from the ship, return him to Janton before he fully awakens whatever is embedded within him," one member argued. But Dr. Yael, stepping into the chamber, challenged them. "What if he represents a bridge between our technology and something much older and wiser? We have much to learn from him." Trelv, conflicted by his duties and the revelations, finally said, "Perhaps we should explore this connection further before making any irreversible decisions." Cora Vex, though unconvinced and wary, received orders to stand down temporarily. The silencers would watch and wait, but the dissonance protocol remained ready for immediate deployment. Meanwhile, Eli and Dr. Yael returned to the interrogation room, now converted into a research space. Equipment hummed softly as Eli approached a device similar to those found in the ruins. He touched it, and instantly, a holographic map of the galaxy illuminated the room, unknown connections and pathways highlighted, tracing back to Janton and beyond. "This is incredible," Dr. Yael murmured, her earlier beliefs confirmed. "Eli, do you understand what this means?" Eli looked at the swirling galaxy, a small smile playing on his lips. "It means they were waiting for me, right?" "Yes," she whispered, a mix of excitement and fear in her voice. "And now we need to figure out what they want us to do." As the ship sailed silently through space, its crew unaware of the true scope of the revelation unfolding within its core, the Starborn Herald itself seemed to pulse with a new life. Eli, the unintentional harbinger of change, stood at the center, a child alone with the power to either bridge galaxies or break them apart, depending on what the humans around him decided to fear or to embrace. As Dr. Mina Yael and Eli delved deeper into the mysteries of his connection with the ancient technologies, Commander Trelf continued to wrestle with his obligations to the Council and his growing doubts about the potential threats Eli might pose. In the modified research space, Dr. Yael asked Eli to explain his experiences during his solo excursions on Jantan. Eli's eyes sparkled with the excitement of reliving his adventures among the ruins. "I would touch the cold stones, and they'd suddenly light up, like they were happy to see me," Eli began, his hands mimicking the action of touching something gently. "And the lights, they weren't just lights, they felt like whispers, telling me secrets in a language I almost understand." Dr. Yael recorded every word, her mind racing to piece together the implications of Eli's intuitive interactions with an alien technology that predated their civilization by millennia. "And when you activated the device yesterday, did it feel the same?" "Yes, but stronger. It's like waking up something that's been sleeping for a long time," Eli answered, looking towards the humming equipment with a mixture of reverence and curiosity. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Cora Vex monitored the conversation from her station, her expression unreadable. Her latest communication with the silencers had been clear: the boy represented a potential cataclysm wrapped in innocence. Despite her misgivings about the harsh measures being considered, duty bound her to prepare for the worst. Her hand hovered over the console, ready to initiate the dissonance protocol at a moment's notice. Back in the research space, Dr. Yael proposed a new experiment. "Eli, today I want to try something different. I want you to try and communicate with the ship's AI directly through the interface we've set up. Let's see if you can guide it to show us something specific from its database." Eli nodded eagerly and placed his hands on the interface. The room darkened momentarily as a stream of data flowed through the holographic displays. Then, suddenly, images of ancient galactic maps and cryptic mathematical formulas filled the screens. Dr. Yael and Eli leaned in, studying the displays intently. "Can you ask it to show us anything about the origins of these technologies?" she encouraged. Eli concentrated, his forehead creasing with effort. The images shifted, focusing on a sector of space that had been uncharted and unexplored by current expeditions. "It says we need to go here," Eli pointed, his finger tracing the star maps where no known records existed. At that moment, Commander Trelv entered the room, his presence commanding. "Dr. Yael, a word, please." Outside the research space, Trelv shared his concerns. "This is going beyond a simple study. We're potentially unlocking something that could alter everything we know about our place in the cosmos. Are we prepared for that?" Dr. Yael, undeterred, responded with calm conviction. "That's exactly why we must pursue this, Commander. Fear of the unknown can't hold us back from potentially groundbreaking discoveries." Trelv looked unconvinced but nodded, allowing the research to continue under his watchful eye. He knew the Council would demand results soon, or they might take matters into their own hands. Back inside, Eli disengaged from the interface, a puzzled look crossing his face. "It's strange, Dr. Yael. It feels like the AI is happy. Like it's glad to be used this way." Dr. Yael mulled over his words, her theory growing that the AI and the ancient tech were somehow symbiotically linked, perhaps even dependent on each other for some yet unknown purpose. As the session concluded, Cora Vex reported her observations back to the silencers. "The subject has demonstrated the ability to interact with and significantly influence the ship's systems through alien technology. The risk of an uncontrollable outcome is increasing. We should consider moving forward with the protocol." The Council, upon receiving her report, called an urgent session to debate the next steps. Voices clashed over the ship's comm system, the argument clear: some saw Eli as a bridge to a greater understanding of the galaxy and their own technology, others as a harbinger of chaos that could destabilize the galaxy's power structures. Meanwhile, Eli, left to his thoughts in the research space, stared out into space, his mind filled with the whispers of a civilization long gone yet alive within him. He whispered back to them, "I'll help you wake up. I promise." As Dr. Yael returned to him, she smiled, sensing the monumental discoveries just on the horizon. "Tomorrow, we'll try something even bigger, Eli. let's see how far we can really go with this. Eli nodded, his face set with determination, unaware of the council's growing fears and the looming shadow of the dissonance protocol that threatened to cut their exploration short. Eli's experiments with the ancient technologies had escalated in both scope and frequency, and with each session, the bond between him and the ship's systems grew stronger. Dr. Yael was constantly by his side, guiding his interactions with the technology, her notes becoming increasingly speculative about the potential benefits and risks. Commander Trelv entered the lab, his face grim, signaling the gravity of the situation. Dr. Yael, Eli, we need to talk. The council is becoming impatient. They want concrete results, or they're considering terminating the project. Dr. Yael, determined to protect Eli and the potential of their discoveries, responded sharply, Commander, we're on the verge of a breakthrough. This could change everything we know about our technology and history. We can't stop now. Eli, sensing the tension, added, I can make them see. I can show them why this is important. His confidence was surprising, given his young age, but his unique connection to the technology made him feel responsible. All right, Eli, Trelv conceded. Show us what you can do, but this has to be controlled. We can't risk an incident. Eli nodded and approached the interface. As his hands touched the controls, the room dimmed, and the air vibrated with the energy of the activated technology. Screens lit up, displaying streams of data and images that morphed and twisted into understandable forms. Watch, Eli said, his focus intense. He directed the AI to simulate potential uses of the technology, showing how it could improve life across the galaxy, from energy production to medical advances. Dr. Yael documented everything, her excitement palpable. This is revolutionary. With this technology, we could. Her words were cut off by an urgent alarm. The ship's systems began to flicker, and the lights fluctuated wildly. Eli, what's happening? Trelv shouted over the noise. I don't know. Eli replied, trying to stabilize the interface. It's not me, it's like something is trying to communicate with us. Cora Vex, who had been observing from the command center, saw her chance. She activated her communicator, speaking quickly and decisively. Initiate dissonance protocol now. We have a potential breach. The command went out, and the ship's security systems engaged, locking down the lab. Doors sealed, and the technology interface shut off abruptly, leaving the room in semi-darkness. Eli, Dr. Yael, you need to step away from the equipment, Trelv ordered, his voice tense but controlled. But we were just about to understand more. Dr. Yael protested. You can't shut us down now. It's out of my hands, Doctor, Trelv replied, his tone regretful. This is a direct order from the council. Eli, scared and confused, looked between the adults. Did I do something wrong? I was just trying to help. No, Eli, you did nothing wrong, Dr. Yael reassured him, her voice gentle. This is it's politics. Fear of the unknown. As they were escorted out of the lab, Cora Vex entered, her expression unreadable. She examined the now dormant interface, her mind racing with the implications of what she had witnessed. The ship was eerily quiet as the lockdown continued. In a secure meeting room, Trelv, Dr. Yael, and Eli sat opposite a holographic projection of the council members, who were debating their next steps. The child has shown he can interact with the technology, yes, but at what cost, one member argued. His control is not absolute. The risks are too great. Dr. Yael interjected, the potential benefits far outweigh the risks. We are talking about advancing our civilization, healing our people, powering our worlds. Trelv, caught between his duties and his growing belief in Eli's mission, added, perhaps we need a controlled environment, a way to study this safely. There's too much at stake to simply shut it down. The council deliberated, their faces a mosaic of concern and curiosity. Finally, the head of the council spoke, we will consider your arguments. But until we reach a decision, the project is suspended. Eli is to be confined to quarters, and Dr. Yael is relieved of her duties related to the project. As the projection faded, the room was filled with a heavy silence. Eli, looking up at Dr. Yael and Trelv, spoke with a maturity beyond his years. "I'll do whatever it takes to show them they don't have to be afraid of me or the technology. We can do good with it. We can help people." Dr. Yael nodded, a tear glistening in her eye, proud of the young boy who might just change the world, or worlds. Trelv placed a reassuring hand on Eli's shoulder, his decision made. "Then let's find a way to prove it to them, together." As they left the meeting room, Cora Vex watched from a distance, her doubts growing. Had she made the right call? The ship sailed on, a small beacon of hope and fear intertwined, moving through the vast, uncharted cosmos. Eli sat cross-legged in the sterile confinement of his assigned quarters, his fingers idly tracing invisible patterns on the cold metallic floor. The ship hummed softly around him, a constant, almost living presence. He could still feel it, still sense its quiet curiosity, its recognition of him. It wasn't just a machine. It was listening. Waiting. Dr. Yael paced outside his door, her mind racing. The council had shut them down, and yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the verge of something far greater than any of them had imagined. She turned as Commander Trelv approached, his expression unreadable. "You're risking your career pushing this, Yael," Trelv said, voice low. "They've made their decision. And it's the wrong one," she shot back. "You saw what he did. What he can do. We're ignoring the biggest discovery in galactic history because of fear." Trelv exhaled slowly. "It's not just fear. It's control." The council wasn't expecting something they couldn't categorize, let alone something that might change the way we understand our own technology. Dr. Yael's eyes darkened. "Then we have to show them. We have to give them proof they can't ignore." Inside the room, Eli closed his eyes. The ship's systems whispered in his mind, like distant voices speaking a language he almost understood. He reached out, not with his hands, but with something deeper, something instinctual. The hum of the ship grew stronger. The lights flickered, the walls pulsed faintly. Cora Vex, monitoring from the security room, stiffened as an alert flashed across her screen. Unauthorized system fluctuations detected. She switched to the internal surveillance feed. Eli sat still, yet everything around him, every circuit, every panel, responded as if he were part of the ship itself. Her pulse quickened. This was exactly the scenario the silencers feared. She activated her communicator. "This is Vex. I need immediate lockdown on Subject Eli's quarters. Restrict all external connections. Now." The command was acknowledged, but before the security override could fully engage, Eli's eyes snapped open. The ship reacted instantly. The power grid surged. Screens across the ship's control decks flooded with unknown symbols, ancient glyphs merging with modern interface code. A deep, resonant tone echoed through the ship, sending a shiver down the spines of every crew member. Trelv's communicator crackled to life. "Sir, we have an anomaly originating from the humans' quarters. The ship's core is responding." "We're detecting," the officer's voice cut off in static before returning. "Sir, I think the ship is talking." Yael and Trelv exchanged a look. They sprinted toward Eli's quarters. Inside, Eli stood, his hands trembling. He wasn't afraid, he was connected. A flood of knowledge, of forgotten memories from a civilization lost to time, poured into him. He saw the ruins of Janton as they once were, towering spires of light, beings moving like whispers across a golden landscape, technology seamlessly intertwined with life itself. And then, destruction. A war. A betrayal. The images blurred, and suddenly he was back. The ship was waiting. The door burst open. Trelv and Yael entered cautiously, but Eli barely noticed them. His focus remained on the shifting lights surrounding him. "Eli," Yael said carefully, stepping forward. "What's happening?" He turned to them, eyes filled with something ancient, something vast. "They left a message. A warning." Cora Vex's voice rang through the intercom. "Shut it down. Now. Eli gasped as the ship's systems abruptly locked him out. The connection severed, and he staggered. The lights returned to normal, the ship quiet once more. Vex stormed into the room, flanked by armed guards. That was a direct breach of security, she snapped. This experiment is over. Trelv stepped between her and Eli. You don't understand. The ship was responding. He wasn't hacking it, he was communicating. I understand perfectly, Vex countered. And that's exactly why we need to neutralize the threat. Eli, still dazed, shook his head. You're making a mistake. The warning, they were trying to tell us something about what happened to them. Yael turned to Vex, her voice urgent. You saw what just happened. He isn't a threat, he's a key. The ship recognizes him. The technology we've never been able to fully understand. It was never meant for us. It was meant for him. Vex's jaw tightened. The silencer's orders were clear. But something about the boy, about the way the ship had responded, made her hesitate. Then, another alarm blared. But this time, it wasn't coming from the research room. A new signal had emerged from the ship's core. Something was coming. The crew scrambled as scanners picked up an approaching vessel, one that didn't match any known signatures. Trelv grabbed Eli by the shoulders. Did you do this? No, Eli whispered. They did. Yael turned to the screens, her stomach tightening. The signal wasn't just a random transmission, it was a reply. And it wasn't friendly. The ship trembled as the unidentified vessel drew closer. Alarms blared, consoles flashed red, and voices overlapped in urgent chatter across the command deck. Commander Trelv gripped the railing, his expression dark. Report, he barked. An officer's voice crackled through the intercom. Unknown vessel approaching at high speed. No known identification markers. Weapons systems, active. Cora Vex turned to Eli, her tone sharp. You did this. That signal, it brought them here. Eli shook his head, his small hands balled into fists. No. I tried to understand the message, but I wasn't the only one listening. Dr. Yael stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. Blaming him won't help. We need to figure out what's coming before we start shooting at it. Trelv exhaled. Can we communicate with them? The officer hesitated. They aren't responding to hails. And sir, they aren't slowing down. Silence. Then, the ship lurched violently as the first impact hit, an energy pulse, not meant to destroy but disable. The lights flickered, gravity faltered for a moment, and a deep hum resonated through the walls. The ship wasn't just under attack. It was being tested. Eli's breath hitched. The presence he had felt before, the one buried deep in the ship's core, stirred again. It reached for him, like a voice whispering across time. He knew, with sudden certainty, that the ship wasn't afraid. It was preparing. Yael touched his arm. Eli, if they're connected to the technology, like you, maybe they'll listen to you. Vex scoffed. Listen? They're firing on us. The only message they're sending is an ultimatum. Trelv's expression hardened. Weapons to defensive positions. Do not return fire unless absolutely necessary. Vex turned on him, incredulous. We have a chance to eliminate this threat now. You want to wait for them to tear us apart? Trelv's gaze never wavered. If they wanted us dead, we'd already be floating debris. They want something else. Eli stepped toward the main console. The ship's AI flickered, shifting languages, searching for common ground. He closed his eyes, reaching out the way he had before, not with his hands, but with something deeper. The hum of the ship grew stronger. It wasn't just responding. It was guiding him. The screen shifted, displaying a series of symbols, ancient, familiar. Eli inhaled sharply. He understood them. They're asking us a question, he murmured. Yael moved closer. What kind of question? Eli traced the symbols with his fingers. They're asking if we are worthy. A second impact rocked the ship. Sparks flew from a console, and alarms screamed louder. The AI's voice crackled. Structural integrity compromised. Shields at 62%. Vex reached for her communicator. Enough. Engaging weapons. No. Eli's voice rang out, sharp and commanding in a way that didn't belong to a child. If you attack, they'll decide we failed. Trelv hesitated. Failed what? Eli turned to face them all, his small frame radiating something old, something beyond him. A test. Yael's eyes widened. This isn't an attack. It's a trial. Eli nodded. They were waiting for someone who could hear them. Someone who could answer. The energy in the room shifted. A weight settled over the crew, the kind that came with realizing they were standing on the precipice of something far greater than themselves. Trelv made his decision. Stand down. No one fires unless I give the order. Vex looked ready to argue, but something in Eli's gaze made her stop. Eli pressed his hands against the interface. The ship reacted instantly, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. The unknown vessel halted its approach. For a long, agonizing moment, nothing happened. Then, the ship's AI spoke in a voice that was no longer just a programmed monotone. It carried something else now. Understanding. Recognition. Designation confirmed. Successor acknowledged. Eli's breath hitched. The unknown vessel powered down its weapons. The screens filled with more symbols, blueprints, archives, knowledge lost to time. A final message scrolled across the interface. Asterisk prepare. Others will come. Asterisk. Then, just as suddenly as it had arrived, the vessel vanished, slipping into the void beyond. The silence that followed felt deafening. Yael turned to Eli. What does it mean? Eli, still staring at the symbols, whispered, we weren't the first ones they tested. But we're the first to pass. Trelv exhaled slowly. And now we know, we're not alone. Vex crossed her arms, watching Eli with new eyes. So what happens next? Eli turned away from the console, looking at each of them. Now? We get ready. Outside the viewport, the stars stretched endlessly ahead. The future had just changed. And this was only the beginning.